Okay, part 2. Here is how we are going to construct the notebook. I'm going to show you how to get all the paper cutted. Oh my god, I'm going to have to definitely edit that. How do people do this without a script, right? I guess they always have a script. Anyway, so your composition notebook is approximately, I think, 10 inches by about 6.5 or so. And so we want to make sure that the paper gets cut to about those dimensions. So I have some paper here that, again, it's not cardstock because it's really hard to cut through if you have cardstock. It's just scrapbook paper. So this is stuff that I have kind of lying around all the time because I go to Savers and, you know, people gift me stuff throughout the school year. So this is what I found today. Kind of matches together, so shouldn't be too awkward. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put down the notebook, and I'm going to use this little black edge that it has as kind of where I'm going to place my notebook against the edge. It has like a little lip. So as soon as I find that, I'm going to take my ruler and my pencil, and these ones in particular, I've never actually seen anything with grit on the back, but these ones do. About an inch or so from the edge, and I'm just going to draw a line across. Okay, that's important because we're going to be cutting through 2 pieces of paper, and I want them to be the same size. So take my notebook right here, and I have something that saves me a lot of time. It's a paper cutter that I've gotten, and I think it was like, I don't know, $15, $20 over at Michael's. I got it during one of those sales that they have. Anyway, I'm going to line that up and slice off the excess. And I always use those for something else anyway, so I'm good. So those are my 2 sheets of paper that are cut. And then I'm going to do the inside of these. Now, you don't have to do the inside of these, so if it's more trouble than it's worth, or you don't have it, or you just have regular paper, you don't have to do it. But I'm going to put it inside the back cover. And it doesn't matter if it's even or not, it just has to be towards the end of the inside. So, you know, so you can see that. It just makes it kind of nice. And then I'm going to flip it over, and again, using my pencil, I'm going to kind of just draw against the edge. And I'm going to cut around these lines a little bit smaller, so it will be like the inside piece of a book. So sometimes you have to, you know, just make it a little bit smaller, and sometimes I do have to go back in and fit it a little more, so I'll try to do this as accurately as I can. You can't see how I'm slicing it, but basically wherever you put it, there's a little wire that guides it. So I'm putting that up against the inside, and I'm going about, I'd say, 1/8 of an inch before that. So then I have 2 sheets that are about the same size, and they'll go on the front and the back. And I'm pretty much done with my paper slicer there. So I'm going to take my college roll notebook, and for those of you who don't know about the Scotch Advanced Tape Glider, it took me a while to figure out that when they were talking about crafting and stuff, it's the ATG that they're always talking about. This thing is like a quarter. I mean, I suppose you could buy larger, wider strips of glue or whatever, but I use it a lot, so probably like all the time during the summer when I'm making stuff for my classroom. It's just a lot cheaper for me, but it keeps things where it's supposed to be, so I like it. So this one we're not really concerned about making sure it's tacked. It's just tacked down. We don't need to make sure it's going to be staying glued down. We're wrapping it in plastic tape, so it's not going to move anywhere. So I just do a strip in 3 spots, lay it down, and I take my scrapbook paper. This one doesn't have any Hello Kitties, so I don't have to make sure that Hello Kitties are on the same side. If you guys have me for geometry or any other math class, you'll find out pretty quick that I'm huge Hello Kitty fan, and we have a scavenger hunt every school year, so I've been gifted with several. So I will use this and tape it down. Okay, another one of those things that you don't need necessarily, but sometimes it's helpful, is they make these like corner rounders, I guess, and you just stick the sheet of paper in there and it will slice it for you. So then it comes out a like nice rounded edge. It's helpful. It's not necessary, but you know, if you like these and you get into them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the corners are rounded and then they're not sticking up. So from here, you kind of have to open up the book. And I want to cut at 90-degree angles. Your terms are, that would be at perpendicularity, right? Okay, and then I cut in half. So basically, it's going to round that corner, and then I'm not going to have to worry about it. For that, I don't use that big giant AGT, I use a smaller AGT. So these are like Walmart. I think the refills are pretty cheap. They're like $2.50 or something. And so I think the tape thing is like, I don't know, $4, $5 maybe. I use them pretty often for my notebooks, so it makes it easier for me. I don't know if I make it easier for you, but I get those from Michaels as well. I'm not paid endorsement from Michaels, by the way. Alright, so as soon as I'm able to put those two down, right, and you're like, well, Miss Spitz, you're a little uneven on the left. It doesn't matter, okay, because I'm going to tape them down anyway and fold them down. So it doesn't matter if it's this side is bigger than that side. It really doesn't matter. Okay, you're going to take care of that anyway. So don't, these things are pretty forgiving. You don't have to worry about making a ton of mistakes on them. Alright, so I'm going to put one strip of glue down the side. Get it taped down. And I'm not worried about a ton of glue on these things because I'm just kind of tacking it down, and the packing tape is what's going to make it stick forever. And I really, yeah, I actually had to kind of think that through. I'm dumb sometimes with that stuff. But there we go. So you have the inside, and it's pretty, you know, tailored to it. Then I do the back side, so I'll do the same thing. You can just watch me while I do this. If I can figure out how to fast forward through these like type of things without, you know, messing up the video, I'll do so. I've done a lot of these, so not videos, these notebooks, so it doesn't take me as long as it takes some people to do. And I know the first time it is a little bit time consuming. It's something I schedule with my classes every year now, so I can do it in class, and it just seems like something that, you know, I think gets received much better. I like the fact that students take a lot more pride in their, you know, their work, and at the end, I mean, there's a lot of them that, you know, they come back and say they're pretty darn useful later on. The expectation is that if you take some pride in what you make, that perhaps you'll try a lot harder. And, I mean, I don't know that it does or not, but I do know that, like, I have the notebook I made a while back, and I love it, so I don't let it out of my sight. And I'll show you guys some examples in class so you can see that. Okay, so now I'm gonna just finish taping these down, so hopefully you guys can see that. And in class, that's generally what I'll do, is I'll do one side and then I'll show them how to do the inside and then send them off on their own. Right? Alright, so pretty tailored, right? And now I know you're wondering what happened to these other ones. I'm going to stop the tape right now just because I want to see how this is turning out, whether I need to do a ton of editing. So hold up.